Hey, hi all. Welcome back to BRL Knowledge Center. In this session, we are going to see how we are going to install Docker on Ubuntu system. That means as of now, we have seen using Docker on Windows. Now I wanted to install same Docker on Ubuntu system so that I can run Unix commands very easily, and I can execute the Docker commands so that I can pull the Docker image of whatever software I wanted to be up and run inside of Docker, and then I can utilize it. So if you want to install Docker on Ubuntu system, right, you need to install Ubuntu system first on Windows Server or Windows 10 or Windows 11, right? Let me tell you some of the steps because we have different ways to install Docker on Ubuntu system. One thing is straight away you can download from desktop Docker and you can install it. Second thing is you can install from Git repository wherein you have a couple of commands to be executed so that it is going to be directly installed on Ubuntu. Third one is manually you are going to install Docker, right? And then you utilize the Docker commands. Let me explain the purpose of this Ubuntu. First of all, you need to make sure that Ubuntu has to be installed on your Windows system, right? Let me tell you that. So let me share the screen. I'm just going to my this Windows wherein I'm going to explain you steps here installing Docker, right, on Ubuntu system. First of all, I just wanted to explain what is this Ubuntu, right? Because if you can understand what is this Ubuntu, then it is very easy for you to what kind of commands you are going to be executed as part of installing this Docker. So Ubuntu is a open source operating system that is going to run on any device, many devices, okay, including PCs, laptops, smartphones, etc. So this Ubuntu, right, is a Linux distribution system that is derived from Debian and is made up of mostly free and open source software. So this Ubuntu is a Linux distribution system wherein it is derived from Debian, right, and is made up of open source software. That means everybody can download and install this Ubuntu on any devices because it's supporting many devices. Any PC you are going to install it, or any smartphone, a laptop, a tablet, a server, and even cloud also, right? You can have an access where you just install your Ubuntu system, right? Ubuntu server. When it comes to Windows, right, you need to install this Ubuntu as a WSL, right? Windows subsystem or Windows subsystem Linux. Okay, so Ubuntu on Windows WSL2 is a way of installing Ubuntu Linux operating system on Windows 10 or Windows 11 and then use it. This WSL2 or Windows System for Linux is a Linux compatible subsystem in the Windows. Okay, WSL means Windows subsystem, a Linux operating system, right? Windows subsystem for Linux, or I can say. So let me explain what is this Ubuntu here. Ubuntu is an open source, right, OS that runs on many devices. Example, right, PCs, laptops, smartphones, right, and tablets, etc. So this Ubuntu is a Linux distribution system that is derived from a Debian. So Ubuntu is a Linux distribution that is derived from Debian, right? And is made up of free software. Okay. So if you wanted to install, because this session is basically like installing this Ubuntu on Windows, right? You make sure that this Ubuntu is going to be installed, right, as part of WSL2. That means Windows subsystem for Linux. Okay. Ubuntu on Windows WSL2 is a way to run Ubuntu Linux operating system. Okay. Ubuntu on Windows, right? WSL2, Windows Subsystem for Linux, okay, is a way, right, to run the Ubuntu Linux operating system. Okay, so this can be Windows 10 or Windows 11. Okay, WSL2 means Windows Subsystem for Linux. 2 is the version. Okay, so it is a Linux compatible subsystem. It is a Linux, right, compatible subsystem in the Windows. Got it? Linux is a compatible subsystem for, sorry, WSL2 on Windows is a, right, Linux compatible subsystem for Windows. That means if you want to run some Unix commands or Unix, syntax kind of, softwares, you need to have a WSL2, and on top of that, you are going to run your Linux commands. Okay. So as I said, like this is a like Linux compatible system, right? Which is derived from Debian again, right? So what you do is you need to install this Ubuntu on Windows, right? By just going to Microsoft Store here. Let me go back into my system, like in the in this type here search, just search for Microsoft Store, right? And go to here and make sure that like you are going to select a proper Ubuntu version here. Let's search for Ubuntu here, Ubuntu. Then it is going to tell you different versions here of long-term supports, like I think 24, 22.0.4 and 06 is the latest long-term support, and you need to select this. And once you select this, you will have a option called get. Once you click on this get, you will be getting this installed, this Ubuntu, right, on Windows system. Okay, as I already installed it, like I'll be having this Ubuntu here in my system. Okay, where you can see here simply this is what my Ubuntu system on my Windows operating system. So once you install it, it is going to come up with this particular syntaxes. Okay. So now how to get install Docker, right, on Ubuntu. So you make sure that some of the prerequisites should be matched to install this Docker on Ubuntu, right? Like OS requirements. Let me write down OS requirements to install Docker engine. Okay. So what are all the OS requirements for Windows to install this Docker software? So to install Docker engine, you need a 64-bit version of Ubuntu versions, right? So to install Docker, right, we need the 64-bit version of one of the below Ubuntu, right, versions. So first one is Ubuntu, right, 24.04. This is LTS. Okay. And same time Ubuntu 23.10, right? Ubuntu 22.0.4. There are some names on top of this version as well. This is Noble, right? And Ubuntu, right? This is Magnetic, right? 23.10. And again Ubuntu, right? This is I think Jamming, 22.0.4. So like this, we have different versions Ubuntu, right? If you go on the search in Microsoft Store, you will get all these versions. So these are the prerequisites for your Windows operating system to be installed before you install Docker. Okay. So once you have either of any software like mentioning here versions, I think right now I think I have which version I have installed. Think we go and check. I have 22.0.4.3. okay, which is Jami, like Ubuntu Jami, which is compatible to install, Docker here. Okay. So now what I'll do is I'm going to start installing Docker here. Okay. Docker engine for Ubuntu is compatible with x86 and 64 processor. Okay. So installation again is Docker installation can be done in below ways, right? The first one is like, setup and install Docker engine from Docker's repository. Okay, this is one way. Another way is you can install with Docker desktop from Linux. This is the easiest and quickest way to install. Third thing is install it manually, and manage other processes via commands like upgrade and delete something. So these are three ways of installing Docker on Ubuntu server. So like I'm going to demonstrate on third one like manually how I'm going to use it. So if any previous versions installed in your Docker, I mean in your Ubuntu, make sure that all those can be uninstalled. Now when I'm typing here Docker, I didn't get the command because it doesn't have any Docker engine here. So now I'm going to install Docker on this Ubuntu system. So Docker command is like I'm going to use application get, right? Install Docker. I'm going to say like CE. It is a community edition because Docker is comes up in two different versions like Docker CE, Docker EE. CE means community edition. EE means enterprise edition. These two editions are very much like performance. However, Docker EE is mostly used in the dev community. We also know that Docker CE is the best for Ubuntu. That's the reason I'm selecting here Docker CE. Docker CE and Docker CE CLI also I want, right? Container dot io, Docker build plugin, Docker compose plugin. So this is the command I'm going to run, right, on Ubuntu server. Let me copy this. Going back here in this Ubuntu command prompt, let me try this. Could not open file as it is like looking for permission. I'll use sudo, which is super user. Let me paste it now. Now it is going to ask me the password. I'm going to give a password here. Then it is going to install my Docker. So look at here. It is going to take some time to install, but definitely it install the required Docker software here, and now Ubuntu jamming, right? Now it is pulling all Docker Community Edition, also Docker Community Edition CLI, and build plugin and compose plugin. All the commands are installed now. It is just quickest and fast way of installing it. Now see here, let's type Docker. Now I can see Docker is installed. Okay, the version is 2702. Okay, that means I successfully installed Docker. Okay, wherein you just execute all the commands here, like whatever command you want, run, execute, PS like build, pull, push images, or whatever commands you want. You execute all the commands now on Unix. Let me try a sample application like Docker run some hello world. This is a built-in, image, which automatically again permission problem. Let me try with the sudo docker run hello world. Unable to find the image locally. Okay. Pulling. Okay. If you look at here, it is latest plugin from library. Full completed. Status. Yeah, this is what the message is displayed from this particular hello world. Hello from Docker. This message shows that your install appears to be working correctly. So this way you can validate like the Docker is installed properly in the system. Okay. So I'm sure like you are perfect. Like this command should be added with sudo for super no permissions, super user permissions. And to check the Docker is properly installed or not, just check the hello world image to get downloaded from the sudo run hello world. Okay, so this is how you are going to install Docker, and with that you can write out your Docker compose file, and you run and you push and pull into Docker hub, and that's how you are going to manage your Docker images using this Ubuntu operating system, right? I What I did was initially I installed Ubuntu like using WSL2. On top of that I installed Docker, and then I just ran the hello world test image pulling directly using Docker run. So it actually displays the message from this particular image, and it's saying that installation appears to be working correctly. Therein you just pull whatever image you want. It is automatically pulled from the proper source using Docker pull, and then you use Docker run. Okay, so when you say Docker pull, it is coming into your local so that it run from local. If you look at here, I didn't use Docker pull here. I just directly ran the Docker run hello world. Initially it looks for local, wherein it didn't find anything in a hello world instead of my local folder. Hence it is again going to the repository and pull my hello world image, and then it ran and executes the internal code and it just displays the message, because the hello world image just displaying the message. That's what the purpose and the task is doing it. So I just ran that using Docker run hello world. Okay. So this is something like installing Docker on Ubuntu server, and get ready of Docker engine to start making Docker image, or to start Docker engine to run any already created images. Thanks for listening this video, and please subscribe this channel for more videos. Thank you.